Yes, now, bless now, people. Don't forget to rest now. There's ROCKSTEADY, King of the Pit TV, signing in and signing out. Razor, Evil Invaders was the record. We've just listened to it. If you're just joining me now on the review, we have got like the whole 10 tracks covered in the reaction videos, so check them out. But if you just want to hear my final overview on what I thought of this record in the freshest opportunity possible, i.e. I just listened to this, here's the right place to be. So first and foremost, 10 tracks. The introduction is a instrumental, but not really an introduction. Not like a brief introduction. It basically is a instrumental song. And that sucks! They should take that off of the record. This would have been better as a 9-track without that intro. Not that I dislike the band's sound without the frontman. It just wasn't the right way to put forth the first track of the record. And it wasn't the right way to put forth an instrumental. And it was just the wrong choice to make. It was an immature choice to make. But we move on to the record. The 9 tracks with the vocals. And they were good. They were good. The vocal performance was good. Very early, even though it's a mid-80s, I would say very early 80s metal. You know, not an incredible grit and harshness. But a grimness, an early death metal-esque, an early black metal-esque. You know, like there is a grim element that could be taken into any particular direction, but has evolved from the general cleanliness of the heavy metal acts that came prior. You know, you got a bit of Celtic Frost, a little bit of Venom perhaps in the vocal line. I'm not very well versed on this particular area of like extreme metal purely is. Bro, it's the early 80s. I like hardcore and stuff at this time. They were far well ahead as far as Extremity is concerned. The metal seems a little bit tame. You know, I want heavy metal early 80s. I'm not too fussed on thrash, because to me, thrash... in the metal realm, thrash was a lot more valuable to my ears when we got a better production value, when we got better musicians, when we had the ancestry that predated the bands to, you know, create the formula and for us to advance from there. The very roots material, you know, in 2025 is just, it's not entertaining to me. But we got on to Razor through listening to a few other Razor acts. It was recommended on the Patreon by my friend The Punishment Juice, so hails to my man, because he's put me onto some great metal records. We listened to Razor on a few occasions prior to this. Shotgun Justice, phenomenal record in my personal opinion. One of the better crossover records I've heard ever, because it's a consistent attack and it's blazing and I love it. We moved onwards from there historically, moved to the newer realm, and they started utilizing like program drums and stuff. It's shit. No. I want primitive beating on the bongos music. I don't want electronics involved in this style of music. So it sort of detracted the most important component, which was the energy. So now we've taken it all the way back to the 80s. We've actually gone back in time and we've got an organic drummer, most definitely, because the drummer didn't play in time for the most part. You know, it was a very organic recording in the sense that you could hear the discrepancies with the timing and, you know, the organic value of the band jamming together. I would prefer them to be tighter, but I would take this over a machine that plays robotically, you know? Riff-wise, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to be very critical, but it's to lead on to better things. So riff-wise, very basic, you know, nothing special in the riffage, no fantastic riffs, very basic riffs. Bass line just follows the riff, the root note. But that's what I really liked from Shotgun Justice. So I say that to say this, there's nothing wrong with being basic and minimal and, you know, less than technical. There's nothing wrong with that. Overall, the project was cohesive. From start to finish, bar the title, not the title track, but bar the initial track, the instrumental, which I think should be removed. I think the album was a nice listen from start to finish. There was no low points. Structurally, they were finding their feet. You know, I think they found it later on. Because on this particular record, they were, I don't know, coming across a little boring with the repetitious value of the sections. We don't need to hear the verse section 3 times in a song. We just don't need to. And you can argue with me and say, well, that's sellout pop writing and so forth. And it's like, it's just generally not. It's just a matter of I'm a human being and just give me something new and refreshing. Don't keep repeating the same section. It's irrelevant, it's pointless, it's detracting from your capabilities as a musician and as a creative. What do we do as a creative? We create. You're not creating anything further, you're just going back to the same old idea. We can't have that. The high vocals were special, especially with the reverb, if not an echo, you tell me what it is, that was applied to them. They were good. They were really good. The general vocals were okay, but them high vocals, although they sounded so harsh to a point where I couldn't imagine him do the whole record with them, I would love to hear the dude do the whole record with them high vocals. I think it would be, you know, a fantastic sound, honestly, an intense sound, and I'd really like that. But yeah, the high vocals were fantastic. If I'm to rate this record, I'm going to be critical. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. This was 85. Hella Waits was out in 85. And this band took a nice, you know, took the other road. A little more of a punk rock value, which is shocking given I think Slayer's like indirectly one of the more punk rock acts of our time. But, you know, took a little bit more of a punk rock UK 82 value from time to time, which I appreciate. But yeah, I think in 1985 there was a bit more space for development as to what we heard here. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I'm signing out. Peace.